Hello, good evening. My name is Anagung Dagung Dari Prabawa, and also my student ID is 60820. Well, I would like to, continue my vlog regarding to the assignment, and which was given by Professor Dawood Aslan. And also, in this vlog, I would like to presenting you or explain you more about the concept of war and peace in the international relations field. Well, in here, I would like to suggest you that we should perhaps change the direction in our efforts to bring about the world peace. Yeah, I think we agree about that. And also, up to now, all the effort has been put into resolving specific conflicts, like, for example, India, Pakistan, North, South, Ireland, and various African war, Balkan wars, and Russia, Ukraine, or Russia, Chechnya, and etc. And in here, I would like to suggest that we should shift emphasis and study war in general. And also, peace and war. Peace and war is understanding that the role territory plays as a source of the conflict and inter-group violence. Also, of all the issues that spark conflict, territorial disputes have the highest probability of escalating to war. War, however, is hardly infallible. Much depends on how territorial issues are handled. Well, more importantly, settling territorial disputes and establishing mutually recognized boundaries can produce long periods of peace between neighbors, even if other silent issue arise. And while territory is not the only cause or case of war, and wars arise from other issues, territory is one of the main case of war. So, war has been, with us ever since, the dawn of civilization. So in here, the definition of war is already exist during the ancient age. Nothing has been more constant in history than war. It's a phenomenon, and it's not a series of isolated events. The efforts to resolve specific conflict are certainly laudable, and sometimes they really bear fruit. But there is also another way of going about it, like this, for example, studying war as a general phenomenon, or studying is general, like defining characteristic, what the common denominators are, what the different are, and also historically, sociology, psychology, and rationally. Is a big mistake to say that war is irrational. Well, in here, we know that if war is rational, once we understand that we can at least somehow address the problem. Well, if we simply dismiss it as irrational, we can't address the problem. And actually, war and peace is an ego's duel as the performers draw on the ordinaries of their own day-to-day perspective of war. Playful and improvised, war and peace is a reflection of Tolstoy's desire to dissect the condition of history and ask if it is possible to live a moral life in an ethically imperfect world. Well, in our times, how we can live inside capitalism, comfortable in the knowledge of the absolute limit and suffering our daily ordinary peaceful lifestyles and others. Well, if we talk about the Tolstoy, we know that the Tolstoy creation is really a famous creation about war and peace. Okay, let me explain you a bit more about the Tolstoy creation. Well, the famous creation with the creation of Tolstoy, war and peace begins in the Russian city of St. Petersburg in the 1805. Also, as a fear of Napoleon's ongoing war making begins to set in, most of the characters are introduced at a party, including Pierre Besukhov, Andrei Bolkonsky, and the Kuragin and Rostov families. Well, much of the novel focuses on the interaction between the Besukhovs and Bolkonskys and the Rostovs. And after the introduction, Andrei Bolkonsky and Nikolai Rostov go to the Austrian front under General Kutuzov, and a functional representation of Mikhail Kutuzov. Well, also to engage with the Napoleon troops, War and Peace is known for its realism. Well, something Tolstoy achieved through intensive research, and he visited battles, read history books on the Napoleonic Wars, and drew on real historical events to create a novel of living history. Well, Tolstoy had originally planned to write a novel creating on the Decembrists whose revolution in 1825 against the Tsar attempt to end authoritative rule in Russia. Well, also, as Tolstoy wrote and revised, however, the novel evolved into the War and Peace known today, a novel that takes place more than a decade before the Decembrist movement. Like the novel's primary historical setting is the French invasion of Russia in 1812, which was a turning point in the Napoleonic Wars and a period of patriotic significance to Russia. And some historians argue that this invasion was the event that metamorphosed into the Decembrist movement years later. And also, Tolstoy wrote War and Peace over the course of 6 years. The novel was originally serialized by the Russian periodical Russky Vestnik under the title 1805, starting in 1865. And also, in here we know that war and peace is necessary in the world because each state competing to creating a peace itself, and war is harmful with others. So in here, war and peace is the concept or the theory that that connected or that provide that each state should achieve it. And also, peace is something that relatives based on the theory in international relations area. Like this, for example, we can find the peace based on the point of view of liberalism, peace point of view of realism, peace point of view of constructivism, and many more. So in here, peace still be a important issue in the international relations areas or study. So that is all about the War and Peace, and thank you.